Here at South Louisiana Bank, we know the importance of working together as a team.
We're always here for you when you need a loan. By the way, here's that crawfish powder you needed. You can borrow it anytime.
So whether it's business or personal banking, we do it all. Visit our locations to find out how we can support your financial needs.
Good luck with the restaurant.
Thank you. And tell your mama thanks for the recipe. Her secret's safe with me.
I will.
South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Facebook YouTube coverage. And we look back at the year 2024. And how about a look at October?
Let us pray. Father God, you are the giver of all good gifts, and we thank you for the good gift of our loved ones. Bless them today with eternal peace in heaven. Bless this plaque likewise, that it may be a reminder of this day 60 years ago of the tragedy that we experienced here in La Rose. May Almighty God bless this plaque. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And may Almighty God bless this path. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please join us next year and every year after on October the 3rd as we celebrate the anniversary of our loved ones. Chapel is open for visitation. Please come in and see the beautiful chapel.
In 1874, 31 years later, 3 fire companies, Thibodeau Fire Company No. 1, Protective Fire Company No. 2, and Home Hook and Ladder Fire Company came together to form the Thibodeau Volunteer Fire Department and to lay the foundation of what we are today. For 150 years, the Thibodeau Volunteer Fire Department has provided protection and emergency response to our community and the citizens of Thibodeau. Members have dropped whatever they were doing, day or night, to respond to community members in need within the boundaries of our city and well beyond. You will hear from a panel tonight of department members who represent a cross-section of the Thibodeau Volunteer Fire Department. They will tell stories of some of those unique calls that our members have answered whenever local citizens or our brothers from other departments were in need of assistance. From Morgan City to Houma, Galliano to St. James, from Kenner to Labadeville, our members have answered countless calls for help. And being no strangers to the disasters left in the wake of hurricanes, our members have even responded to Lake Charles, Florida, and everywhere in between to provide assistance to those most in need. The Thibodeau Volunteer Fire Department has also been a leader when it comes to fire equipment, always constantly striving to improve service to our community and to protect our members' safety. Many area firsts have happened in Thibodeau. The first ladder truck in the region, the first emergency light unit in the region, the first set of extrication tools. And we are always constantly upgrading the personal protective gear and tools and equipment for our members and their safety. We have come a very long way since leather buckets.
The Thibodeau Volunteer Fire Department is no doubt the #1 civic, benevolent, giving organization in this city. Am I right about that? There's no other. So many communities are striving to have what you have. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a little while, but I want to stay on the importance of, number one, recognizing the history. I think one of the things that we have to stop and take pause over is the people who are not here tonight. The people that date back 150 years ago. And we have got to put ourselves in their spirit, because they had a vision. They had an idea for the Thibodaux Volunteer Fire Department. And I'll say they're looking down today with pride and with so much gratitude that you people are sitting here to make their idea continue to be alive. You know, I hear the story of the city buying the buckets and the hoses and giving to the citizens to protect themselves. Well, that's exactly what is still going on today. The Thibodaux Volunteer Fire Department are citizens still protecting themselves. So you've upheld that vision, that tradition, and I thank you for that. I think about the contributions of so many people. I mean, you know, in my career, Thibodaux was always a place to go. You talked about 9 past presidents. That meant there was 9 banquets, some of which were in this harangue center, where firefighters from all across the state came for the LSFA convention. And you people out there, many of you served the same meals that you just served tonight. Thibodaux has always been a department that shepherded not only what they do, but tried to help every fire department that they came in contact with. And Louisiana's better today because of the Thibodaux Volunteer Fire Department.
Mr. Paul Nakan, Barry, Charlie, Josh, Glenn, Denton, and our Chief Tony. I think I'm going to start with Chris Riviere, because Chris is kind of like me. You give him a mic and you give him an audience, he knows everybody and he knows everything. You know them guys? We kind of alike. And when I'm talking about you, and when we were going, when we didn't rehearse this, but we did meet a little bit. I want you guys to know, do you know that Chris tried to restripe Highway 1? You want to tell them about that?
I don't know if it's restriping Highway 1, but we had a fire in the country club, and I caught engine 17, and it has this big yellow 4-inch supply line. So I'm driving down the highway, see the smoke in the neighborhood, getting all ready to go, and I hear on the radio, engine 17, you're losing all your hose on the highway. I laid 400 feet of 4-inch hose on LA1.
And you weren't even near the fire?
Wasn't near the fire.
Mike, your dad, of course, some of your family was in the fire department before me. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, my dad was a firefighter in Protective Fire Company number 2. And, all right. And it's because of him that I joined the fire department. But I'm going to laugh on this one. It's a very unique thing that happened. One day, I can remember when I was 5 years old, my dad and I were riding in Thibodaux, and the fire horn blew. Him being a fireman, drove to the Protective Fire Station on Maron Street. He gets out of the vehicle, closes the door, and tells me, "Don't go nowhere, I'll be right back." Imagine that. I'm 5 years old. My daddy gets out. Then I see the fire truck leaving out the station. I don't know where he's going. I'm by myself. This time, crying, kicking, screaming. Don't know when he's coming back, if he's coming back. It was that moment that I knew I would be a firefighter.
Josh, grab that mic. I want you to talk about a little bit about the family that goes on in the Thibodaux Volunteer Fire Department.
All right. Well, my family it's a family tradition. I knew one day that I was going to be a fireman. My grandfather, all of his brothers, and most of the brother-in-laws were all members of Fire Company number 1. I knew one day I was gonna be a member of Fire Company Number 1. My inspiration was standing on the side of Jackson Street, handing out beer. That was out my dad. My dad wasn't a fireman, but my grandfather, my uncles, a lot of my cousins that I called uncles were all firemen. And when Fire Company Number 1 would come down Jackson Street, it was our job to hand out beers. And I was proud, and I always wanted to be a fireman. It wasn't a matter of if I was going to be a fireman, but when I was going to do it.
Barry, what's the biggest fire you ever went to?
Probably the Thibodeau Funeral Home, Landry's Funeral Home, Roxas. I remember back in '77, we got a phone call from my house. It's the captain's wife. He said, Barry, go to the station. You got to go to Galliana with the light truck. We was the only light truck in the Foose Parish. They had somebody had died in that fire, and they needed lights to go look for that body. The Safari Club in Galliana. That's the fastest I ever been to Galliana. I followed Poupidou, and he said, let's wait. I said, we got to wait for the captain. He said, no, we're not. I said, look, he's running down the street right now. And we went there, and they had a truck full of marijuana that passed the roadblock with 12,000 pounds of marijuana.
In your 52 years, Mr. PJ, did you take a trip to Galliano?
Yes, I did. I was a lieutenant and with hook and ladder. My dad had just stepped down as chief, so he gets a phone call from Poupidou Benoit. He answers the call. All right, he comes wake me up. He said, hey, that was Poop on the phone. He said, there's a fire at Galliano IGA. He said, it needs 16 down there. I said, all right. He said, my dad asked, he said, you need me to call somebody? I said, call Gerald. Gerald David lives down Lafayette Street. I said, so I picked him up. We took the old ladder truck, Gerald and I, following Poupidou, foggy morning, hardly any brakes in that truck. And I'm gonna say almost like One Eye said, that was the fastest I've been to Galliano. But right before we got there, Vigilance was there. And we on the radio telling them, so I think Alan Frost was the pump operator or whatever. I said, hey, get 2 lines ready for us and hook us up when we get there. And we pump, I don't know for how long, but that was the last fire call that they wanted the ladder truck to leave. I mean, the ladder truck was bought for the citizens of Thibodaux for the, buildings we had in Thibodaux. And, but after that, that's when they realized, okay, look, that truck needs to stay in town. And thank God, departments around this area finally bought ladder trucks and also giving us a break.
You get to a fire, the house is burning, people are running all over the place. You got commands coming in, 17, I need you in front of the building. 18, they find me a hydrant, I need you to hook it up. You get a call on the radio, chief, electricity's still hooked up. We got gas meter that's busted. We got gas blowing out. There's a report there's somebody still in the station. You got people yelling all over the place. And all of a sudden you get this real calm voice that comes over the radio. Headquarters to 13, Energy, Public Works, and Acadia en route. We had some good dispatches back then.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Visit 4 schools. We'll go to Legion Park. We'll look at, we'll go to Acadian. We'll do Oak Lawn, and we'll see if we have time for a 4th. Okay, so we'll do those for sure. We did them last week, and we had time, and we got to see all the, what we needed to see. So. Prior to the storm, let me start off with this. I think this is important to kind of know this. Prior to the storm and prior to COVID, the district embarked on a facility task force. They studied every school, looked at everything from air conditioning to who owned the property to condition of the schools, everything. Analyzed it, charted it, came back, talked about ways to remedy some of these things, and came up with a plan. So when I assumed the position here, I had a blueprint on some things to do that was accelerated by the storm. The storm, coupled with this plan, kind of gave us a roadmap to kind of get some things done. So what you'll see here is a lot of things we've done, including improved security, which was part of the plan. Now, we knew we had to do some things security-wise, but that was also very clearly seen in the plan. Just currently, I just want you to see this. We have 20 school resource officers in our schools, the most we've ever had. Matter of fact, some schools have 2. So this little chart here, Leonard did some really good work for us. Leonard's in the back here. He put this together for us, and just based on some conversations he and I had, if it's a single cap, that means 1 school resource officer at that school. So all the dark blues are HPD and the light ones are Terrebonne Sheriff's Office. So some of the schools in the shield on the right, like South Terrebonne High School, they have 2. H.L. Bourgeois has 2 SROs, and everybody else either has their own or they're sharing. And the sharing circles are getting smaller. So you can see we're sharing 1 SRO to 2 schools. At one time it was 3 to 4. Now we have like Lisa Park and Broadmoor, they're sharing 1. That SRO goes back and forth. Very unannounced, unplanned way so that nobody gets a kind of bead on their location. Shriever Caldwell has 1, Coteau Oakshire has 1, and we have 2 of them between Village East, LaCache, Montague Middle, and Montague Elementary. I just wanted to kind of share that with you. We're investing in school resource officers. We're investing in fencing. We have just about every school with a perimeter fence that needed a perimeter fence. And we're putting them 7 foot high. You'll see one today at Acadian, 7 foot high. We're encapsulating all the different separated buildings so that we can tie them all into one confined area. Okay, we're also doing some other things safety-wise. I mean, we have metal detectors. We have open gate metal detectors. I was in an airport recently, and they're using open gates. These towers that are in this lower left corner you see here. We have rave panic button. We have the Raptor visitor ID centers that it's basically you pass your driver's license and it does a background check. So before somebody comes in, that's kind of part of the process of them coming into the school. We have Knox boxes, lockdown emergency kits, and even, sad to say, stop the bleed kits. They say some of the shootings that happened could have saved lives had they had equipment, know-how on how to stop bleeding. So we're going to train people and have that in a lockdown emergency kit bucket in every classroom. We've written a grant for that. We got funded. It's a matter of getting the materials in right now. We're doing things as well as, this is Coteau Bayou, probably the most dangerous street when it comes to parents picking up kids. That's Country Estates Drive. They're literally parked halfway on the road because there's no shoulder. And it's been like that for years, and we've been hearing complaints. So we're going to fix that by putting this turnaround on the property. We're going to double stack cars, make a loop, and let them exit out the back. We'll be able to stack about 100 cars. That ought to take care of all traffic getting off of that road. So that's a much needed safety project that we're going to do there. And we're looking at others. Matter of fact, you might have seen, we just adjusted Southdown. Did you see that? Did you see the line at Southdown along Tunnel? It was all the way back to probably Big Al. Yeah. So we put the cars in the back, all the way behind Southdown Stadium, and put the buses in front, so we alleviated all that traffic on the shoulder. It wasn't designed like that, but we kind of saw a way to kind of fix a little problem, make it safer. So far, so good. We're also able to take care of a lot of air conditioner replacements in the last few years. Mr. Hammond and I, when he was on the board, we talked through this with some of the federal money we had, and we said, if it's allowable, why not? We're having trouble with all of these old systems. They're very old, they're patched up, and here you have it. We've spent quite a bit of money, and rightly so. We needed some new systems at Oaklawn, Elysian, Broadmoor, Mulberry, Coteau. Coteau's coming. We're going to do a whole replacement on Coteau. HL Bourgeois, Legion, Dularge, Terrebonne High, at least the park's not up there. That alone made the start of school so much better because we weren't running around trying to fix air conditioners. They were kind of fixed because they were new. Now we still had trouble with a couple of them. Matter of fact, Legion Park, brand new system, got hit with a power surge from a lightning storm, so we had to kind of quickly get the circuitry kind of redone on that one. But nonetheless, we spent over $25 million on air conditioning. Unbelievable. When you look at a Bourgeois one, a $5 million project. It's a huge, huge school, but that's what it took. So we're feeling good about that. And I want to show you these videos, and we're going to go see these schools, including Houma Junior High, the one I didn't mention earlier, the fourth one. Leonard put these videos together just to give you a little taste of what they look like so when we go see them. So pardon me for seeing this already, Jessica. Y'all seen it at the Rotary Club meeting. By the way, if the hospital or any group would like me to go present this or anything about this, I'm willing to do that and would like to do that. So Brett, y'all kind of let me know if there's a group that would like to see or hear some of this. Okay? So here's Acadian. Acadian was in rough condition pre-storm. Storm made it rougher, but it was dingy, it was dark, it was, and it was not a matter of being outdated, but outdated to the point that it had a feel, and I'm gonna use the word a depressing feel. Poor lighting, dirty floors, that you couldn't clean with a mop. You know, just stains and built up wax in the corners and a lot of things. Needed paint job, windows, I could go on and on. So coupled with federal money and hurricane repairs, this is what it looks like today. So we'll walk this one today, so you'll get to see this one. But what do you think about Acadian?
It's all natural lighting.
Thank you. And I think what you're going to see is it's just what a school should look like. It's not like anything grand or anything like this is state of the art, but it's just nice, standard, well kept looking school. So that's
when you walk into Acadian, I want you to notice when you're walking through front doors that you're going to be able to see a view of a courtyard that was always there, but you never saw it because they had, correct me if I'm wrong, some old blinds that were up, and just the removal of those blinds and cleaning those windows and opening it up and letting that light in, it just changes the whole atmosphere of the school, to give you that feel-good feeling when you walk in.
Yeah, good point, yeah. And I think, like you said, removing some old dirty screens, exactly. Made all the difference. And so for us, it's about the feel that kids have when they come in the building, the sense of something well kept, fresh and open. And they might not even obviously understand what it does to their whole state of, emotional state, but it's a factor, that we're very proud of. Dularge is one we're not going to see, but I think worth mentioning, and I think worth mentioning that the Sheriff's Office, through their trustee program, came in and painted the entire school. in just a matter of a few days. Matter of fact, they're painting at Oak Lawn currently, so we'll probably get to see some of their work in the hallways. They're doing hallway painting. And that's like one of the final touches on Oak Lawn. But this one came out really, really nice, and I think it's worth just showing. New principal, Andrea Rodriguez, Laurie Prosper, assistant principal, walk into the foyer and walk straight into, and notice the floors and the paint job on the hallways and in the classrooms. And again, new air conditioning system here, you'll see that. Custom-made cabinets by our carpentry department. This is years back, but well-built stuff. Just a standard pre-K class, but just well done, well outfitted, nice, neat. Give it up to Leonard for putting together a great video. That's such a good job. I love that one.
In that video, what impresses me is that that pre-K classroom, it had all the stations. You know, you have the science station, your art station, and just different ones for the kids to go into, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. So Houma Junior High, we had a lot of complaints, particularly after the storms. It took a while to get that one kind of repaired. So it's stood with barren floors and just ceiling issues. Matter of fact, ceilings were stained from years of, I'm not even sure what it was. It looked like huge rust stains, but people kind of, I think, thought that it was just an unsafe kind of tile, but we got it tested. There was nothing wrong with it. It just looked bad. It's probably original. I'm not sure the year, but it was original stuff. So what you'll see here are dropped ceilings with new lighting, new flooring, baseboards, paint job, and it just transformed a dark, dingy school that kind of looked obviously dated and needed some attention. So again, thanks to the storm, silver lining. We always kind of look at the silver lining of the storm, and what you see here is the result of that. And as we go, I want you to kind of see if what you see here is how you feel when you kind of walk in the building. So we're kind of stealing the thunder of the visit, but it's a great administrative team here as well. They're doing a great job together.
And here's a little fun fact about Houma Junior High. The young lady that is now the principal, Therese LeBlanc, she taught over there her first year teaching. We stole her from HTV. came over there and taught her first year. And today she's the principal at that school.
That's right.
Did a good job training her, Mr. Fox.
She was a good person. Yeah. Still is. So that was Houma Junior High. This is Oak Lawn. So what we have here is not a video, but before and after pictures, and we'll go kind of look at it. So this is like looking at the front entrance of Oak Lawn. A lot of storm damage. We had roof damage. So this school, and in this booklet here, I know there's so much I can share with you, but we have every school and all the repairs that happen. Now, some of these repairs are storm repairs, but we also have just other things we did outside of that. So Oak Lawn is probably our most extensive project, and I think they're alphabetical, right, Leonard? So Oak Lawn's in there. We did new air conditioning at Oak Lawn. You're going to see new windows, new flooring, a lot of new lighting. We're building, you're going to see in the process of being in construction is a vestibule, which is a secure entry to that school. So when guests walk into this lobby here, they'll be in a secure room, out of the weather, but secure, and they'll have to be buzzed in from inside. So there's a reconfiguration of the front office as a result of that whole plan. New roof, new AC, and just some other little special touches that you'll see as I kind of go through some of these slides. So that's what it looks like then and now. Wow. So it's a transformation. And that's what we kind of said from the beginning. We took the orange bricks and painted them a complementary color to the windows, which is a little bit a darker gray to match the windows and walls. So all this is new. All those light gray wall, so when we changed the windows, it was the whole, what they call the storefront. So it's a big transformation in changing windows. Again, federal money allowed us to kind of do this project. This is what it looked like outside the office. Here's what it looks like then, and when you see it today, you'll see even another little change that all that, I'm gonna tell you, all that dirt is now concrete. So that kind of dressed it up a lot. Here's the front parking lot, then, now.
Wow.
We went from that, then we said, let's sod this area, so that's what it looks like currently.
What grass for Connie Berg to cut?
That to that. This was the area outside the office, which we now have a built-in trophy case and just kind of made it a little more neat and clean. That to that. Hallways now, classrooms then, classrooms now. Now when you're going to look in, and one of the things that we kind of notice as you're kind of going through all this transformation, you do everything, you do floors, you do walls. We need to paint chalk trays, little things, because it stands out. So we did that. Now the next thing we're looking at is, what about these lights? So we're going to change that out. So you're going to say, and they're going to stand out because everything else looks so good, and things that are not looking so good really pop. So we're going to change out all the lights and ceilings and put all those nice flush LED lights in the classrooms. That's we're working on a grant through Entergy for that, and should be coming due pretty soon. Cafeteria, energy efficiency, less windows yet, I think more light. So it went from that to that, to that. You'll see this is what the cafeteria interior obviously looks like.
Last time I was in there was in the 60s.
Yeah. We have a lot of new equipment, new hood, new plumbing that we had to kind of get done. It's all working out pretty good. A lot of different colors and patterns in the school, so it's something a whole lot more uniform and consistent. The gym is probably the most visible from Grand Caillou Road, and it's got a lot of work happening right now. It was rusting, and all that has kind of gotten cleaned up a whole lot, and it's going to get wrapped with that same material. So you'll see that today. This is the rear. This is the interior then, interior now. The whole wall and windows, new air conditioning. These new tubes are new air conditioning. That's what the gym will look like at Oak Lawn. So that's coming, okay? We'll go see that one. It's a good one to take our final look at. And there's a few other things we're part of the appearance and just safety is we had to kind of resurface some tennis courts, and while we were there, we repainted them according to the school colors, new nets, new posts. South Terrebonne's getting done. It was getting done last week. It should be almost finished. That one had some gouges from the storm. A lot of things hit it. Yeah, so that kind of got all patched up and done. This is future of HL Bourgeois' competition gym. It's dated, it's old, the court's yellow, lighting is bad. Leonard, again, and I, we talked a lot about kind of what we wanted, what I wanted, and what I talked to the administration, and he kind of put this little mock-up together. We're going to do with a two-tone gray court, royal blue perimeter, and key lock. We're going to change out bleachers, go with a black bleacher, and matte black ceilings, which is what we have at South Terrebonne High School's gym. Really good for lighting. New lights, uniform, banners, just make it look really nice. Because their other gym, the volleyball gym, got redone from the storm. So we could have toured a lot of schools today. There's so many things that happened. But part of the facility task force was also Terrebonne High. And Clyde was a big push for Terrebonne High when he was on the board. And I'm not going to go through it, but I just want you to see that this is a major project. On our website. At the very bottom, we have a flip book of Terrebonne High. If you have a chance, you can enlarge this, and it goes through the entire history of the building. It has all of the facets of rebuild. We're going to touch every aspect of the school. Athletics, band, science labs, classroom, windows, flooring, lighting.
Landscaping.
So, well, we have a lot, but that might be on the cutting floor, so to speak, because we're looking to spend about $20 million on this project, on a refurbished building. So some things we'll see, but we do have some landscaping included. Field house I mentioned, library, and probably the most important thing is right now the office is on the second floor. So people come in, they're buzzed in, yet to get to the office you've got to go through the stairs and the hallways, and there's no really safe way to kind of get people into the office. All that's going to be transformed, so we'll bring the office down, make the foyer a nice vestibule that they're buzzed into the office, put everything office-wise upstairs, downstairs, and make classrooms and other spaces up top. So that's kind of the gist of it, but it's very detailed, this whole plan. A lot of transmission in the hallways to kind of take up space of lockers that are no longer used by kids anywhere. Like, we just don't use lockers. It was a thing, obviously, when the school was built, but very well done booklet so you can kind of get a taste of Terrebonne High. Okay. And one more I want to show you is, this one was part of the task force recommendations, and it was combining Montague Middle and LaCache. And those two schools, they share band, they share athletics, because they're not that big by themselves. So the plan from the beginning was to take the property right, I guess, west or north of South Terrebonne High School, which is school board property, and build a middle school there. So we're in the process through FEMA to get the money from LaCache put toward this school here, as well as some other monies to kind of make this project a reality. So this is the schematic of South Terrebonne Middle. The idea is to tie it into South Terrebonne High School with the same colors or brick colors, just so they have a little cohesion there, yet it being a little bit more modern looking. So that's what we're looking at, and that's the quad inside. Backside's gonna be a 2-story classroom building with a gym, big cafetorium, and so forth. And in one more, Fletcher building is in the process of being repaired so that we can make that our career and college center. We're gonna be able to take the entire VOTEC and house it right here in a one building, under one roof facility, as well as add some other college track courses that typically don't make at the school. I'm gonna give you one example, drama. We don't have drama in most of our schools. We need to have like a theatrical or arts kind of program at this school here. So that's kind of one of the main, I think, areas we're going to kind of focus on the college side at this school, where kids can come from all 4 schools to one program at that school. We have space. It's huge. To fit the entire VOTEC, plus have a lot of other classroom space for other things. Okay?
And something about these last 3 schools, you know, when Terrebonne gets redone, it's going to keep that historical significance to it, but yet it's going to be totally modernized. You know, when you walk in through the front doors at Terrebonne, people don't even notice anymore the WPA works of art that are up there. And those will be, you know,
preserved,
made more visible and protected, you know, because those are historical significance. Yeah. And then the South Down Middle is going to be state of the art. It is going to be something that the East Side needs, and I held Bubba to the task of doing it for $24 million, and the architect came through for us, but nothing was skipped on it. And then the Fletcher building, it's not just going to be your typical vocational school. It's going to be a true career technical school offering an expanded curriculum. Yeah.
Yep. So we're excited about that one.
Yeah, this storm, was it devastated Terrebonne Parish, but yet for the school system, it really was a blessing in disguise, because that little booklet you see there of about, 50 or 100 pages, originally that was a 25-year plan. Mm-hmm. And, 3-4 years later, we're seeing the fruits of the labor of this task force that put it together, because of the storm.
Right.
All right, well, let's go. We'll go check out 4 schools, starting with Houma Junior High. We'll do some quick little walk through the halls. We're not going to kind of get too far into the classrooms. Kids are here today, but let's just go check them out. And I want you to get a feel for the energy of the building. Tell me what you think about that.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Big crowd today. Hi, everybody.
Yep. It's our principal, Therese LeBlanc, and she'll just give us a quick little tour, starting with maybe Fernald, something like that. Let's go look at.
Give her that microphone, Mark. She knows how to use them. She knows how to use them.
That's 30 years ago, guys. Good morning, everybody.
Y'all can come in, it's just off. Look, walk through this way.
Principal's office.
Walk through. It's been painted and updated a little bit, just make it a little bit more inviting. Some new furniture, because
Give you an idea of the age of the school.
Wow.
Yeah.
I take offense to that.
Wow.
Does that date this at the school?
I love that we kept it though.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Right?
Awesome.
Love that.
Wow.
Relic.
Yep.
But as you can see, it's brightened from floor, ceilings, a lot of paint, even in the trophy cases, brightens it up a whole lot, and we feel really good about this space. So we'll kind of walk down the main hall, Therese, if that's good, and walk into maybe one room, just show what the ceilings, lights, and windows, everything look like in a classroom. Okay.
Let's do that. Are you going to see the trophy cases? We're redoing all of them, and each club or sporting team is going to be responsible for kind of keeping it more updated, and then we'll put the old trophies probably in the library. So we're not getting rid of anything, but we're kind of updating, because there were some from like 1954, which is great. We cheered in the back. Was that your year? So we don't want to get rid of it, but we want our kids to be more connected to what they're doing.
You can see stairwells to the right. This back into Houma Junior High blue, and
all right.
First time in this school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was east side.
our painting expert, Mr. Bobby Douglas.
He's done a great job.
Rub off.
We have some visitors. You can keep working. They might ask you some questions. But they're coming see how great you guys are.
Okay, guys, so again, that first set of tests, right? So whenever we were looking at that data, when we were looking at our tsunamis, right, we weren't picking them all up.
How are you?
Wonderful. How are you? We are working on an essay. We just finished reading a book, and we did some. We did Freak the Mighty. We did some artwork for it on Friday, and we are working on our culminating writing test. So we're doing some brainstorming.
Gotcha. They're so well behaved.
They are. It's a really good class.
I have to hit the.
Go ahead, I did it.
But like it, Brian, I asked about this last week, I think, and the answer was no. So we can adjust as needed. It's as low as that.
No, hold your computer up. Hold it up. So I see that. No more black and white composition books. Everything, it's totally modern, state of the art. Everything's, it's incredible, incredible.
That's no big deal to them, y'all realize. We're all like, wow. And this is just their everyday life, right?
Guys, this is our updated Houma Junior High. I hope you got the feel that we were talking about, how it's changing. And as Martin said, kids are doing really well. Well-behaved, good administrative team. Kanika's not here with us right now,
She has
but
some students with her.
really good team, and they're doing a great job. So, Houma Junior High, thank you all.
Thank y'all for coming to visit.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
One day of work
honor, and it's this lady driving our bus today.
Oh,
Hey.
congratulations.
How many years, Julian? 30? How many years, remind me?
It was 25 hard on.
25 from your start. Yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
because you did it earlier. But still, 25 years and no mistakes.
Yeah.
So Legion, you're gonna see we have new floors, new ceilings. You can see here new windows and walls, and then all this paint job is gonna be carried over to those white columns. We're gonna paint them this kind of taupe color right here. Is gonna kind of blend in with the flooring on the inside as well. So lots of updates. We're gonna just do a quick little walk down the hallway just so you guys see a updated Legion Park element.
That was me.
Good morning. This is our head custodian, Mr. Sly. And
How you doing today?
How you doing?
You doing all right?
Doing just fine.
He does a great job.
Yeah, you got that glass looking really clean.
Thank you. Hey, that's part of the job to get it done.
Right here. I love so windows, hedges. Just Sly and his team does everything. Almost. All right. They get it real nice.
Hey,
Great job.
The only
y'all have a good day.
It's right down there.
right down there, Hurricane.
Hey, here. Good. Right here. How you doing?
Hello.
Maybe some more sharing now.
It's our principal, Sherry McGuire, Legion Park, and she's seen it at its lowest point and at its peak right now, with still some work being done to kind of get it to its optimal state, right? The building. She's done a great job with kids. Kids are performing well. They were really low and they've grown tremendously. So great work here. But the school building, we feel, is going to also help in the process.
It does. Yes.
So she's doing a great job, like I said, with all of her team and teachers here. So we'll just take a quick walk down the hall.
You should hold this while you give us a little tour, and we pitch up the board.
Okay.
All right. So just tell us kind of as we're going, like some of the new renovations that happened in the school.
Sherry McGuire is one of Terrebonne Parish School System's best kept secrets. She is a wonderful administrator. I got to work with her at Village East when she was the master teacher. Learned so much from her, about middle school curriculum. She's really fantastic.
Great time. Great time. Great time. Our floors, throughout the renovations, we had cement, and now we have beautiful floors. As you can see, the outline, it actually takes away from us having the tape on the floors. So great. We love it. We love this. We have new ceilings.
You want to look at?
And they have actually redid doors.
An active first grade?
This is second. Second grade class.
What are the grades here?
Pre-K 6.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. And as you can see, the new ACs in the building works wonders because everybody now has their own control, so they can set their own control. They have come in and they've painted the whole room. Looks much better. Yes.
So our teacher is Stacy Terrio.
Miss Terrio. Our new windows brings in a lot of light. And we also have new lighting.
How are y'all? Doing okay this morning?
Yeah!
Thank you all for letting us come say hello and check out your new classrooms this morning. Is that all right with y'all?
Yeah! Sure.
We'll see y'all next time. See y'all.
Bye.
Good seeing you.
Our doors are painted, so they're coming back, and as you can see, some rooms now have the frame. They worked over the break, so we're trying to get there so every room is done. We have some classes that are still trying to get back. They was working over the holidays of our break, and so they're setting up the classes and getting them straight. Stuff like that. Yeah. And putting the rooms back together again. So we learn to do what we have to do in order to make sure. Yes. This one over the break.
Am I good?
Yeah.
It's good? It's good? Good? I'm good.
We are really trying to get it back together again. It looks really nice. They did an awesome job.
Yep, they really did it. Yeah.
It looks perfect.
Legion Park Elementary School.
1959?
1959.
Wow.
When you see, yeah, 1959. And look, it was built with that Art Deco design on the outside. It was beautiful. But then as those pink tiles started chipping, and they had to go. And all those windows on the outside, they've been replaced with smaller windows, but yet, like the superintendent said, it still lets in a lot of light and makes it airy for those kids, and it's much safer. That's interesting. Charlie Collins, Russell Viguieri, C.C. Miller was the superintendent. And EWB, FAURE, that's a new one on me, was the supervisor of physical plants. Some who's who in Houma that won the school board back then, too.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
So, Mr. Superintendent, it's amazing what a lot of innovation, a lot of paint, a lot of cleaning, a lot of different ideas can do to make a school transform, right?
That's right, yeah. And I hope we saw, two good examples of that at Houma Junior High and Legion Park, and there's many others. We could probably go to every school and see something. We picked out a few of them that are just like really transformational, before and after. So we're off to Acadian. We'll go see Acadian Elementary, and then we'll wrap up our tour with Oak Lawn. That's another one that was just in a state of needing some attention, and we're giving it that, and we want it to be just a beautiful thing for the kids in particular, the teachers, and the communities, just that they feel they have just a good quality building that's going to house the learning of their kids.
One thing I noticed too, which I liked, is you have a relationship with the custodians, you have a relationship with people on the ground other than the principal, you have a relationship with the school bus driver, Joanne, today. How important is it to get all that feedback when you're trying to transform a school?
It's utmost importance. And they're, as they say, the people in the trenches, they see all nooks and crannies of a building, and you got to listen. They know what needs to be done in a lot of situations, and they're important. They're important. We just met Sly. Sly is just a great gentleman and a quality worker. He does his job, and he does it so well. And they often get overlooked. They're often just in the background, but I've become friends with a lot of custodians and some of the cafeteria workers. Just important to go tell them hello and just tell them how much you appreciate them whenever you visit.
Just learned that Joanne driving the bus never had a sick day.
25 years, no sick days. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. That says a whole lot about Miss Joanne, no doubt.
Do the principals have a say-so, or is this when it comes out of committee? Like if you're going to redo, we're going to Acadian Elementary right now. Do the principals have sort of a seat at the table to decide?
A lot, yeah, they do, yeah. A big part of it. A big part of their job too in the process, and we saw that here at Legion Park, is just the logistics. You know, we saw a teacher assembling her class because they painted it yesterday. So she had to vacate, move all of her stuff so they can get to all the walls, and now she's reassembling her classroom. So that's a lot of work on a principal to kind of logistically reposition teachers, and Acadian was a very difficult logistical puzzle, and that's what Principal Tanya Cook did a lot of. Torrey Carter at Oaklawn, he did that all summer long. Opening doors, simple things, you know, but somebody's got to be there to let people in certain areas, you know, just helping that whole logistical process. So they did a lot of that.
What surprised me is that, and I was surprised when I walked in Houma Junior High in Teresa School, and the class was so well behaved. We so used to talking about the young kids today because they weren't like us.
Right.
A lot smarter than we were.
It's
but I was surprised at the discipline and the fact that they still look at authority the right way. So that when the teacher commands the class, they will respond.
Yeah, and that was obviously what we saw was every day. You know, it wasn't staged or anything like. They had no idea, and I've been in the school many times, and in all the schools for that matter, and that's the norm. You know, and you have a couple, I think, incidents that happen, and I think that kind of highlights what people might tend to believe about a particular school, but that's not the case day in, day out. Teachers do a great job with management. You know, there are isolated incidents, obviously, but what we saw is what you get pretty much at every school. We're going to see the same thing here. We saw it at Legion. Very polite kids, second graders, sitting in a class, great teaching going on. We'll see the same thing at Acadian, same thing. Young kids, middle school kids.
Technology is unbelievable. We couldn't even bring calculators.
Yeah, now it's the norm too, right? Yeah, they're all in Chromebooks writing essays, you know, on Chromebooks. Yes.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
So what you're going to see here, so we have this fence out front, but that's not the safety fence. The safety fence is on the inside of that. It's about 7 foot high. It doesn't have a top horizontal post, part of the scale, but you'll see every building is connected by a fence, and it really makes a multi-building facility very, very confined.
Good morning, how are y'all?
Good morning.
Doing all right?
She's finished.
So you can see what Clyde was talking about. It just kind of gives it a lot of air, a lot of light, and it's a very usable space, this courtyard. And so the whole lobby and feel of this entry is just much more inviting. When you see new floors here, new ceilings, new lights, and just transform the entry of Acadian Elementary. This school has a school resource officer, which is located in the front. We have future plans to, not exactly sure just yet how, but make some kind of wall right here so that we make this lobby a secure vestibule. Come say hello, Miss Sue. It's our assistant principal, Sue LaBeouf.
Hi.
We're just going to walk through a couple of halls and say hello and walk in maybe 1 or 2 classrooms. Just check it out. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, thanks. Is Miss Cook available, or she's
actually in observation.
She's in observation? Okay. You know Tanya?
How you doing?
Hi.
How you doing?
Welcome to my school. Hi.
Well, I hope you felt warm and fuzzy when you came in the building.
I put my sunglasses.
Yeah, that's great.
So this is Tanya Cook. She's the principal here. And how long have you been here exactly? 5 years already?
This is my 5th year, yes.
5th year. So
yes.
she's in her 5th year as principal. She was a former curriculum specialist in English language arts and assistant principal at Oakshire. For a little bit. Yeah, for a little bit. And then you've been here for 5 years. So
yes.
Doing a great job again. Her school has grown in number. You're at 700.
A little bit under, about 665.
So it's a lot of elementary kids. It's pretty standard to the Lisa Parks, Broadmoors. There's just a few more than those schools. At one time, it did have, prior to Tanya, close to 900 kids at Acadian.
Yeah.
So it's gone down, even though it's still pretty high considering.
Yes.
So great job. What's your letter grade?
B.
B school.
We are a B.
Great job. And looking to continue to improve always, right?
Yes. We had tremendous growth this past year, so I'm anxiously, I kind of have it in my brain what our score is going to be, but I'm anxious to see what the actual number is going to be. Yeah.
But just if you don't mind, this is our little committee, and we have people from the library and Terrebonne General, and just other groups here with us. So we're just going to walk down a couple of halls and just take a look at some of the renovations.
Awesome.
And you want to start with your office?
Yes, come on in. I do have, because I feel like this is my house, so I like to welcome people to my house. So I do have some refreshments for you guys. Yes.
Wow. That's a principal that knows.
I love my school. That's all a part of my warm and fuzzy kind of feel here. So this will be out for you guys as we go around. If you guys want to stop back in before we leave, you're welcome. Yeah, I have water. I have little plates and little treats for you guys. Just to say welcome to my house, and I'm happy to have you guys here. And I'm happy to show it off because I think we've had tremendous improvement. Actually, where you're standing right now used to be a storage room. Wow. Yeah, so we got rid of a couple of the the shelving, and one of the things that I really wanted to do is when people come into my school, I wanted them to feel like this is a professional setting and I care about your children, and we're gonna present ourselves in a professional way. So with the support of Mr. Ogeron, Ms. LaRose, we kind of powwowed together and came up with this grand plan. And actually this room is used every day. This is kind of where we hold the meetings because I want people to feel like we're professionals here. So this room is used every day. So it was absolutely worth knocking down bookshelves and getting it all together because we actually use it. So this is one of our good improvements, I think.
Yeah.
How's the transformation affected the kids, in your opinion? Like when you walk in, you really have to put on sunglasses. It was so bright and so vivid, you know?
Yeah.
How's that affected them?
Well, I think one of the things is I love my babies here, okay? And so whenever they walked in the door, I always want them to feel like it's home here. And I want them to have pride in their school. I think that's probably the big thing. When they walk in, this is clean. It's taken care of, and we want them to do the same. So when they see Miss Cook picking up trash on the floor, then they pick up trash on the floor too, because this is your home away from home. So I think it gave them even more of a sense of pride, I would say, because we're mud bugs, and if you see our kids, you'll see our theme this year is mud bug pride. So it just kind of, I think, fostered even more of a sense of pride for us.
I could tell you're meticulous because your cookies aren't perfect.
I'm not OCD, but I have OCD tendencies.
Bubba just ruined.
I know. It's okay.
Two order.
See, I knew somebody was going to want that cookie this morning at 9 o'clock. Okay, are you ready to see our beautiful building? All right. Good morning, Miss Monnier. Now, one of the huge changes is, like you said, Mr. Falls, it's so bright here. When I came, actually, we didn't even realize how dark it was until we got new lighting and new flooring. So all the classrooms were outfitted with new lighting. The flooring is new. For those of you who are not familiar with elementary school, my favorite part of the floor is the tile, because the children walk on the tile, so we don't have to put lines in the floor. They walk on the tile, so that's one of my favorite parts. So all of the classrooms outfitted with new lights, new lighting. We are in the process of still kind of fixing up and doing some painting and things like that, because now that we have all this bright light, we want the whole building to match. So now we're still in the process of doing a little bit of touch up here and there. And it's a work in progress, but I think it's going to be fantastic. It's fantastic now, but I think it's going to be even better when we kind of put on the finishing touches. We began construction in the main building. So last year, we were basically under construction for pretty much the entire year. So we began last year with some of our classes in different parts of the building because we had to close down wings of the building at a time.
She did the majority of all the, like we mentioned earlier, the logistics and maneuvering, all that. So a big job, big part of the job.
Yeah, we're huge if y'all haven't noticed. We're a little big, but it worked really well, and we had a phenomenal crew. Like our construction crew was phenomenal, so they made the process really easy. They worked with us, and they understood that we're a school, so we have to function with kids in the school, so they were very accommodating to us. Whatever really I asked for, they were willing to help. So the process was pretty seamless for us. So I'm going to say thank you. Favor isn't fair, so I just take the favor. So,
if I can say, with all of that, still it grew academically. For all the disruption and maneuvering all that, still they focused on the work and did well, still with all that.
Yeah, because excellence is the expectation here, and our theme this last year and this year is that we're on a mission, and we're on Mission Possible, because we want to look at the possibilities that our students have. We don't want to look at what they can't do. We want to look at what they can do, and how can we be instrumental in helping them accomplish that. So no matter what the environment is around them, we still have to focus on instruction, because that's why we're here. We're here to grow kids, and that's what we do here at Acadian. So that still has to be the forefront, no matter what chaos may be going on around us.
I like that. Mission Possible.
Mission Possible, yes. We had a little bit of a process to try to get it finished, but our hope is to get it up and running within the next couple weeks. That's our hope. So you can see our perimeter fencing. That's one thing that we kind of we have around the building. So you can see our perimeter fencing here. All of our Usually, when we first got it, the parents were like, I can't get in. And I was like, because we're Fort Knox. But the parents were like, but that's a good thing. And I was like, yes, it is a good thing. So we do have procedures in the morning for when they come in, but once the bell rings, we are on lockdown and nobody goes outside the perimeter of the building. We maneuver on the inside of the building. Yes. Yes.
You can get a good shot of what the new windows look like here that were replaced.
Awesome.
As opposed to this wing didn't have damages, so we didn't replace these.
Those
But this is all brand new, this building here.
Yeah. I'm gonna take them around the back this way because this is where the how we can get into the modular. Now, Hurricane Ida kind of took our whole modular, so we were blessed to get a brand new one. This is all new. The ramp, the canopy. This is probably my favorite part of the building. They did a phenomenal job, I think, on the on this ramp area. So our children did not have this before, but now they have a nice covered area to kind of come outside, especially on days like today. They can come out and our children come out here and play. Or even if it's raining, they can still be outside without having to be in the elements.
Point out how we use the corner of the buildings for the perimeter fencing.
Yes.
Kind of see a pretty good example of how we contain using building perimeters as well.
Mm-hmm. So we're pretty locked in, which is a good thing. Okay, this is the fun zone, like I like to call this. This is the fun zone. Okay, this is our pre-K class. This is Miss Trixie's class. And this is basically what our pre-K class looks like.
Good morning.
Say good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Carlos.
Hi.
So we have all their center activities and all of this. All of these things were replaced from the storm because the entire building, we lost the entire building. So they're outfitted with everything is new. So we're getting our babies ready for kindergarten. But this is, like I said, what I call the fun zone. So they have a lot of learning through play. This whole side of the building is pre-K classrooms. We have them towards the back of the building. On the other side of the building, those are kind of like ancillary rooms, but we're blessed to have a 10 classroom modular. We had a 8 classroom modular before the storm, so we did get 2 extra rooms. We have our restrooms here, our boys and girls. We have a staff bathroom, and we actually have a restroom that we use to assist our children with potty training. So that's something we didn't have last year. So we're excited about that to help some of our friends get that skill mastered. We have like an indoor-outdoor play area right here. So if it's hot, like especially in August when it was like really, really hot, I'm very protective of my babies, so we didn't go outside. I was like, no, we're not doing that. But since we have the extra space, since we have a 10 classroom modular, the teachers were like, hey, maybe we can create an outdoor area and we can bring our children in here. So that's what we did. So the kids can still have playtime, but they could do it in the air conditioning. And then we are blessed to have an EL translator housed here on our campus, and that is her office right there. So she assists us with working with our Hispanic families, but she also works with other schools in the district, but we have a huge Hispanic population, so having her here is an absolute blessing. She's here every day, and we utilize her every day. And that is common for us, to get children in who don't speak English, but we have a phenomenal L program. We do have an L teacher who's here 2 days a week working with our students. We do have an L para as well, working with those students because our population is so high.
I would think they'd pick it up quick.
They do. Because they're so young, they usually pick it up really quickly. High school, I would probably say, is a little bit more difficult because they've been immersed in their own language for so long. But when we get them in kindergarten, first grade, the turnaround, you would be amazed how resilient kids are, and they're very perceptive as far as picking up the language. So it usually doesn't happen as slowly as you would think. Yes. Now we only use this entrance when we're leaving the building for like dismissal, because remember, when the bell rings, we're on lockdown and nobody comes out here. So we only use this to dismiss our kids at the end of the day.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
You'll see a lot of changes here. They're still working on the roof.
101.9.
Total roof replacement, air conditioner replacement. It's very cool today, but when they're humming, you don't even hear these new units. I mean, major, large units, quiet as you can imagine. But we'll walk into an unfinished vestibule. You'll get a feel for it, and we'll kind of migrate around through some of the school hallways and gym, kind of wrap up our tour, okay?
Yes, a new addition is this parking lot for teachers to kind of really have a nice place to park, stay out of the gravel and mud, and it gives the school just a nice, clean look in the front. So all this is obviously new. As we'll be walking around, you'll see all the facade has been changed out, including the windows and walls. Some of the painting on the orange bricks are now this darker gray color to kind of just give it a lot of continuity throughout the exterior. And then we'll walk in and we'll meet our principal, Mr. Torrey Carter. He's going to walk us in, and it's a great look right here. And we'll walk into our secure vestibule, which is, again, ongoing, but the whole front is obviously much more inviting and looks very good. Give credit to our architect, Shelley Olivier, for kind of doing a lot of this exterior work for us, and the interior vestibule architect, Daniel Bruce, for designing this reconfigured office and vestibule. So let's go take a look at Oaklawn. Let's go. This is our principal, Torrey Carter. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. Well, this is our front entrance, the vestibule, and basically this is where our parents and students will enter the school, and then you enter, and this is the window where you're checking the students. From there, when the student will be buzzed in down this hallway, and then basically that's how the school is on secured. It's locked down, but this would be your entrance area and everything. So
what's behind this car?
Your SRO. This is the SRO. She'll be up in here. So watching everything.
And just point out, this is all bulletproof walls and glass. So heavy duty security here.
Right. Cool. And from this point, to get into any side, you have to be buzzed in. All of this is a new section to the office. So The secretaries used to be behind this wall here. Now they'll be up here working in this area. So we have an open area back here where we have like a conference area, a new office over here where the secretary do bookkeeping. So some extras office space came with the new area. And here, this would be the area where parents would come in and do any kind of business they would have to do. And this used to be our old office area. And we'll use this as a conference area when we have our conferences with our teachers and our leadership meetings. One of the assistant principals will be in this office, Ms. Kakisha Harris. Your counselor will be back in here, Ms. Anita Boverland. This is an extra office for our service providers. This is Ms. Boverland, our counselor. It's her office. Over here is our nurse's office. We added a door at entrance over there. Here we have our new AC systems. They were located from the front entrance. We had some in the front of the building. Now we put some here and at the side of the building as well. Cemented this area here.
Again, this will become
This is our temporary office until our office is finished in the front.
Okay, I'm gonna double check for you. You got it.
We have Ms. Forey and our secretaries, Ms. Pam. So that's our other secretary. We have Ms. Tamara. Ms. Tamara is our attendance clerk. Okay.
Okay, sure will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ms. Nicole, that's our nurse.
Stuff that was under your floor, windows on this back wall, and a paint job. So we have some trim work to do. I think we should probably.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Paint these frames,
Welcome to Oklahoma.
dark gray or something, kind of blend it in better and do a little bit more ceiling work. But all new air conditioning. You see that's the new units here. All those big. We want to thank the sheriff's office again for a fresh paint job on these walls here. They just did this
Over the weekend.
group over the weekend.
Yes. Wow.
Knocked it out.
Right.
Prepped it up last week, and
Right.
first time I see it, it's beautiful. Came out
Finished up
really,
yesterday.
really nice.
Yes.
Very nice. They're brightening it up.
They brighten up the hallway.
Yeah. I love it.
These are new lights, new floors, and freshly painted hallways and classrooms. You talk about it?
Yes, this is our calming room. This is a room we bring, it's a special group of students to calm down. It's called our calming room. We have a dimming lighting system.
I feel the floors are soft too. Yeah.
Yeah, blue walls, which is a different type of room. It's basically to calm you down.
Yeah.
Here.
This is a really good view right here. You can see the air conditioners all on the perimeter here. Just a gutter downspout work here.
Why do you have all of those?
This is our cafeteria.
Turn around and finish eating. If you get me, clap once. Twice. Once.
Best choice.
See, we go to
Is this still the girls' side of the locker rooms?
No, we're going toward the locker room now.
Yeah.
This is the PLC room.
Okay.
And then we have like a classroom here.
Okay.
Self-contained resource class.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And in the gym, we're working on a new AC system in here. Gonna change out the bleachers. Yeah, new windows that were put in.
There's a lot of great athletes come out of this gym.
They did. You're right.
It looks like
yeah.
So there was a lot of water that pulled up in here. And
Yes.
did well, you know. Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these are all new AC ductwork and the windows.
Yes.
So all this wall is framed.
Yes.
It's really nice.
I got it. Got it? Yeah, you could talk. So as you could see, all of this area, they redid this area here. The front entrance, look up here, all of this is new, redesigned. The top area, new ACs.
So this is all new, all this front window
Lighting.
framework and
You're working on the outside area. They're gonna change out canopy at the front entrance.
Front of the
There's more work to be done. We're gonna put some covers, exterior walls on the walls. They're prepping the walls.
we wrap all this too, so now they're prepping kind of.
Yeah, I see the stripping.
So I hope you all enjoyed just kind of seeing just some of the changes and upgrades. Thank you for speaking throughout this tour and taking time to show us around.
Thank you all for coming. We appreciate you all supporting us.
Our main custodian, Mr. Jesse, and does a great job, he and his crew, keeping the school looking great. So we thank you for that, Mr. Jesse.
Yes, sir. We plan on keeping this energy and make sure everything look good for the kids and our teachers. And got great leaders here, Mr. Bubba and our principal, Mr. Carter. So we appreciate that. I'm happy to be here, be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. I remember you for a long time ago.
What a great day. I want to thank Mr. Bob Armstrong, Ms. Melissa Hagan, Mr. Leonard Falls for getting in touch with HTV so we could come on this tour to show you what's happening in the school systems. A lot of times you don't get to go in and see the things that we saw today, but there's a lot happening, a lot of renovations going on, a lot of innovations, and you can tell the students are really buying into it. So thank you all for joining us. Dwayne Dupre doing a great job behind the camera. We'll see you in the next go around. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Weights and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin False, and it is with a very heavy heart that today I tell you about the passing of Don Schwab, who was a friend to many, and certainly when you look at Don Schwab, he epitomized many things. You could take your pick, whether or not you wanted to talk about him as a family man, as a God-fearing man, whether you wanted to talk about him as an employee, or as your employer when he became parish president. No matter how you choose to look at him, as a father, as a grandfather, as a brother, however, you picked the title, and Don Schwab epitomized what it was like to be a human being. He taught a lot of people along the way. And that's not to say that Don didn't have road bumps along the way. He had plenty. He would tell you that. But it's the way he handled those road bumps that made him a very special person. Let's bring up Don's pictures if we can right now, and I'll have more to say later, but I wanted to read you the obit on Donald P. Don Schwab, April 6, 1943 to October 19, 2024. He died on a Saturday, surrounded by his family. He was born, like we said, April 6, 1943. He was a native of Labadeville, Louisiana, and a resident of Houma. Tissue pick, let's be exact on this, because he corrected me many times throughout the years as I interviewed him about where he was from. A visitation will be held on Wednesday, October 23rd from 8:30 a.m. until service time at the Cathedral of St. Francis de Sales. A mass of Christian burial will begin at 1 p.m. with burial following at St. Francis de Sales Cemetery, number 2. He is survived by his wife of 60 years, and what a wife she has been, Nancy DeFata Schwab, who has been also what you epitomize to be as a loving wife and as a mother and as a grandmother. I can't go and eulogize Don Schwab without giving credit to his beautiful wife. She has been there by his side every step of the way. Let me also read you some more of the family members. Once again, his daughters, Michelle, husband Randy, Christy, her husband Sal, son Donald Paul, call him TP, and his wife Gina, the grandchildren Dante, married to Kaylin, Dominic, married to Katie, Jonathan, married to Bailey, Elena, Sydney, Josie, Juliana, the great-grandchildren Sawyer, James, and 2 great-granddaughters on the way. His brother Jerry Schwab, sister Cindy Schwab, sister-in-law Joyce Foray, and numerous nieces, nephews, and friends. And of course, he was preceded in death by his parents, which he spoke of many times to me over the years, Sidney Schwab and Amy Landry Schwab, his brother Huey, his sister Fernand, and extended relatives Dennis Foray, Eugene Richard, and Susan Schwab. Don graduated from Thibodeau High School in 1961 and obtained a bachelor's degree in education from Louisiana State University in 1967. He played as a fullback for the LSU Tigers football team, where he led the team in rushing in 1963 and 1964, and led the Southeastern Conference in rushing in 1964. He is still the only fullback in LSU history to lead the SEC in rushing. In January 1965, he participated in the Sugar Bowl, where he was the team's leading rusher. He also participated in the 1963 Blue Bonnet Bowl and the 1966 Cotton Bowl. Known as Coach to many, he soon began his teaching and coaching career at Sam Barth School for the Boys in Metairie. Throughout his professional journey, he coached football at Central High School in Baton Rouge and H.L. Bourgeois High School in Gray. He also took on the role of offensive coordinator at Nicholls State University and served as the head football coach at Vanderbilt Catholic High School in Houma. He later worked for 5 years as the general manager of HTV right here, before serving as the Terrebonne Parish president from 2004 to 2008. During his time in office, he led the parish and surrounding efforts through both Hurricanes Katrina and Rita in its recovery efforts. He continued his career with the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office, working as a case manager for drug court and working in the truancy reduction program. In addition to his many sports, educational, and political endeavors, at his core, Don was a devoted husband and family man, consistently present to support and uplift his children and grandchildren, never missing a sporting event or an activity they were involved in. In his later years, he enjoyed spending time with his family, fishing and hunting at their cabins in Mississippi. He was also a loyal friend and a constant source of support, always ready to lend an ear or offer a helping hand whenever it was needed. If a man's wealth is measured by his impact on others, Don is the wealthiest of men. He was cherished by all and will profoundly be missed. On a personal note, just to let everyone know that on Facebook and YouTube, we'll be running programs that we had with Don over the years. There's many. You will see several programs that we launch on Facebook and YouTube. The one-on-ones I had with him as a coach, the one-on-ones I had with him when he was parish president. Like the obit said, Don spent 5 years with us at HTV. I cherish those days because Don had a lot of wisdom. As a young reporter, as a young owner of a TV station, times can get a little tough sometimes, but Don was always there to tell me the famous quote, "Kill 'em with kindness, Martin." I think he used that phrase on many people throughout his life. When Don was involved in something, he put his heart in it. And that was certainly evident when it came to his family, his friends, anything he did. Parish government, Don put his heart in it. He was one of those guys that you use the word trust. You could certainly trust that if Don told you something, take it to the bank. Done deal. Don, I think I learned more from Don when he won that election for parish president, because they had some that voted the other way. They voted against Don. But Don never let that sway his decision to keep some of those people on his staff who later became very loyal to Don. Don showed them that through example, you can conquer the world, and he certainly did that. He didn't have to like the fact that they voted for someone else, but like he said, this is America. You vote the way you want to vote. You vote your conscience, and at the end, everything will work out. That's the way Don lived his life. And just speaking from the heart, I'm not sure the first time I met Don Schwab. And I asked everybody at a banquet one night that I had the privilege of emceeing to just close your eyes and try to remember the first time you met Don Schwab. Where were you? Were you on the playing field at H.L. Bourgeois? Were you at Sam Barth? Were you later going to become his wife, like Miss Nancy became? Where were you when you first met Don? Because Don was so unassuming. And a lot of times when you ask that to people, they go, I'm not quite sure where I first met Don. Because he didn't throw himself upon you. He sort of worked his way in, became your friend, garnered your trust, and then the rest from there is history. When you talk to every football player at H.L. Bourgeois, or every football player that played for him at Vanderbilt, or some of his teammates along the way at LSU, or people that played for him at Sam Barth. They all will tell you that Don Schwab was as loyal as you can get. I really don't know anybody that disliked Don Schwab. Oh, I'm sure he ruffled some feathers along the way with his decisions in politics, but I'm sure when that person really sat down at the end of the day, they probably realized that Don didn't make a vindictive decision in his entire life. He made it because he probably thought at the time it was best for the parish, or it was best for his family, or it was best for whomever was involved. Never did I see Don Schwab go in his office at HTV and go, all right, this person did me wrong way back when, so let's do a news story on him. It's not the way Don operated. And he taught a lot of us that same principle along the way. When it comes to family, he epitomized what being a leader of a family should be. How many functions did we have where his family was involved? And look, that was only through several factors that were involved. Don's friends were so far advanced and so spread out that there were parties going on all over the place. H.L. Bourgeois reunions that we had, not so many years back when we honored him for being a coach. And to see the amount of people that was sprinkled in that group was breathtaking, because he spread his wings far and wide. I remember when we used to do the radio phone Game of the Weeks on HTV. Don was in the booth with me. We had so many memorable moments because Don's knowledge of football was second to none. I could sit in that booth and do play-by-play knowing that as soon as I finished my comment, Don was breaking down the defenses and telling you what the tendencies were. And to have someone like that in the booth was incredible. And I'm sure Gene Gano can attest to the fact that I remember one time he and Don had to start a championship game in the Superdome because the elevator got stuck and Lonnie Thibodeau was in the elevator. So Gene Gano and Don, if my recollection is correct, started the first part of that game. And I know that had to settle Gene down quite a bit because Don knew his football. We could go on and on about Don Schwab. We can talk about the softball teams he played on, Bill's House of Trophies. That team was so envied by a lot of people. Not only were they good, but they certainly won the beer drinking trophies many, many times. Don also had a great sense of humor. He liked to laugh. He liked to have fun. But he never overworked. And don't get me wrong, Don was a hard worker, but he never overworked to the point where his family came second. It might be a hint to people out there that still work so hard that sometimes they neglect their families. But Don always put God first, then family, and then his task at hand. I'm going to remember Don in a lot of different ways, but one thing I will remember is his word. When he gave you his word was golden. I had a chance to just sit next to Don in his last day, and I didn't realize, to be honest, that it was that close. But this dreaded disease that he suffered through and many people suffered through sort of picks its own time, sort of tells the body when it's time to shut down. But what a privilege it was to just say a small prayer inside and to tell him what he meant for everybody and get a chance to thank him for what he did for me and this community, because he did that with many of you. How many of you watching this editorial tonight can certainly say that he guided you in some way throughout your life? I'm sure there's plenty people who Don Schwab gave advice to, not just throwing himself upon them. Sometimes you had to ask for it, but if you asked him for advice, he would certainly give it to you. I'm proud to have known Don. I'm proud to have played in his recreation summer league basketball when I was young, and he was trying to make some money to support his family.
I was talking to his family the other day when I visited, and me and Coach Schwab one day at HTV put that calculator on, and we figured out about how much he made per hour when you added up all the hours when he coached. 75 cents an hour. When you figure the time put in and the amount of hours that you put in and the paycheck you got, 75 cents an hour. Is it a wonder why he had to do summer league programs and do different things? Just so he could help support the family. And of course, Miss Nancy worked too for many, many years, and she helped as well. But she did that so he could be a coach. Amen for that, Miss Nancy. Well, in saying goodbye, I'm going to remember a lot of things, and just going through the footage we had throughout the years brought back a lot of memories of what Don Schwab will always mean to me. From the cooking shows with Louis Gano when me and Don were doing the drunken chicken with Lonnie Thibodeau, and to the one-on-ones and to the game of the weeks. Once again, we say, Don, thank you for allowing us to be part of your large sphere of people, because you had many, many. And once again, like I said, just close your eyes for a second and just think back and smile of the times that Don Schwab touched many lives. You know, you don't get to hear that about a lot of people, who everyone you run into has a story about how Don touched their lives in one way or another. It certainly was a privilege to know Don Schwab, and I know his family was of utter importance. And people ask me all the time, who was Don's best friend? And I think, and I'm going, God, Don had so many just great friends. But I got to say this in closing. So I would say Don's best friends were his family. Something to be said about that. And then he had a large group of best friends after that, and they didn't miss a good time, or they always had a good time. So once again, I urge everyone, check out Facebook, check out YouTube, because to summarize Don Schwab's life in just one show is impossible. So we're going to run several shows. You'll have to search to get them, look for the titles, just search under Don Schwab, and I'm sure things will pop up on our HTV rebroadcast. Condolences to his entire family and friends and his circle of life, such a big one here in the area. We appreciate what Don meant to us, and may he rest in peace and be joined with his loved ones in heaven. God bless everyone.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
You know, looking at this crowd, most of you are kind of the fellow nerds on this project, people that have been working on this for years or even decades. And but you know, the people that we all collectively represent, they're sort of there, and folks expressing a lot of frustration about why is this taking so long, and our ability to actually get protection in place. And you know, so many people here have just been incredibly persistent in pushing through a lot of the obstacles that have been thrown up in front of us, and just in recent years to getting us to exactly where we are right now. We had a situation where we put funds in an appropriations bill, the funds ended up getting diverted. We then, through the emergency supplemental, we then come in and try and pursue what's called a new start on this project, only to be told that, well, this is in the Mississippi River and Tributaries program. We can only do new starts in construction in general. I mean, all of these things, and I know, you know, to 99% of the people out there are like, what is he even talking about? But these are all of the obstacles or hurdles that are thrown up before us that prevent us from being able to actually get to exactly where we are now, which is turning dirt. And these are all things things that we've been able to collectively overcome, and in some cases it means changing laws. Really, really excited though that we're actually here today. For those people who are naysayers, those people who don't believe this investment makes sense, number one, Congressional Budget Office just came out with a report showing that projects like this, you get $3 in cost savings for every dollar you invest. This project held back 11 feet of storm surge and Hurricane Francine that no doubt would have caused extraordinary damages right here in this community.
The reward for good work is more work. So 2 days after Hurricane Helene made landfall, he was personally selected to deploy and restore wastewater and potable water service to Asheville, North Carolina, and remains there today leading that effort. On his behalf, I'd like to thank you for being here to celebrate this significant milestone. This project is a hurricane storm damage risk reduction project and part of the Mississippi Rivers and Tributary System. Its 98 miles of alignment consists of levees, floodgates, environmental water control structures, road and railroad gates, and protection for existing pump stations. Major features also include 2 floodgates on the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway and a lock complex on the Houma Navigation Canal. The non-federal sponsors, the Terrapone Levee Conservation District and the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, have constructed over 80 miles of levees in vicinity of the Morganza to the Gulf levee system. However, Reach A was a gap where no levee segments had been constructed. Therefore, the city of Houma and the surrounding communities remain vulnerable to flooding, storm surge, and sea level rise. Acknowledging this risk, the team sought to advance the greatest risk reduction within Reach A as soon as possible, while minimizing impacts to the environment, wetland habitats, and utilities within the project areas. And that's why we're here today, to celebrate a groundbreaking on Reach A a full 2 years ahead of schedule. There will be challenges in the future, but we can overcome these challenges working together as a federal, non-federal, and local team. And we want to build on the success continuing into the future and look forward to delivering Reach F in 2025. In closing, this is an important project and urgently of need to provide flood risk reduction. This effort will reduce risk for 52,000 structures and over 200,000 American citizens within the local area. It's of vital importance. The Corps of Engineers will continue to work with our partners to move this project forward, and I look forward to working with you in the future to continue to reduce risk for citizens of this region. Thank you.
You know, from when I was elected in 2004, and 12 years as a state representative, chairman of Natural Resources and Environment, I saw Morganza go from nothing to a complete levee system. And as 8 years as parish president, we pushed, and as parish president, we built 30 pump stations because we realized you have to get the water out, and you're gonna get these 30-inch rains. Now, we had a 15-inch rain for Francine, and the system worked fine. You got to keep the systems pumped down, and between the levee board and its government, we built 2 lock systems in a levee board building the 3rd, and working with Lieutenant Colonel Weander, Lacey Shaw, Mr. Duran, and of course Colonel Jones is not here. We've gone, and other colonels in the past, we've gone to an 80-mile system that just took a 11-foot storm wave and held it back, and you sort of, the damages was done in Florida. That was devastating without levee systems. And all the way back from General Kaiser and now General Peoples, we've been working with them. And you know, the CPRA has moved into further that we're getting more involved with the drainage of the pump stations along the levee systems. We're working with St. Mary Parish, St. Charles Parish, Terrebonne Parish, and Iberia, and also the Bob Poche with Vermillion, the president of the police bureau. So we're moving into pump stations because we realize you got to get the water out. While funding, we're going to do more funding on hurricane protection than we've ever done before. And you know, I want to thank Garrett Graves. We were on CPRA together when Garrett was chairman of CPRA, and really moved this thing forward. And you know, Reach A is a long time coming.
Thank you, Lacey, Chairman Dove. Thank you, everybody. It's really great to be here today as Executive Director of CPRA, being from Lafourche Parish with family in both Lafourche and Terrebonne. It's obviously extremely important to implement this critical project and protect the citizens of Lafourche and Terrebonne Parish. But when we talk about CPRA, we often talk about infrastructure projects, but as Congressman Graves mentioned, really it's about preserving the community and culture of South Louisiana and communities in Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish. So we take this very seriously. We're really excited to break ground on this critical Reach A project to provide that linkage for full interim protection for Morganza to the Gulf. But really, I want to just thank everyone that's here today. This project is a true partnership, and so when we talk about all the work that it takes to put this on the ground, it's, on the working level, it's that partnership between CPRA and the Corps of Engineers, the New Orleans District, all the hard work that they put into it, all of the work that the Terrebonne Levee District and North Lafourche Levee District and South Lafourche Levee Districts do to bring this together, the Morganza Action Coalition, and then of course the Louisiana Legislature and the Congressional Delegation.
I do want to say on behalf of my levee board and the state of Louisiana that this project definitely represents a true partnership with the Corps on delivering the first federal levee reach for the Morganza of the Gulf. This is a monumental day for us. We're super excited to be here, and I wanted to also make sure that we recognize all of those who have been here before us. So it's not just the work of the people here, but it's all of the people that have come before us. Specifically, Reggie Dupre is our legislator and former director. Of course, my board members that are here is Mr. Sue Henry, Mr. Dan Davis, Mr. Danny Walker, Jack Moore is here. So we have a bunch of our board members here. So these board members have been on the board 20 years or more. So they've all worked for this particular project and this particular effort. So this is a big day for everyone. Again, like everyone else said, we're looking forward to many more groundbreakings like this. We want to successfully deliver this project with our partners, and we're super excited to be here. Again, I want to also thank Mitch Mormon for all of his work. He is super passionate about this project, and he is a true champion, along with Tony Alford, my board chairman, who's also here and will speak after me. So thank you all for being here. Super exciting day, and God bless.
Thank you, Lacey. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Thank you, Duran. Thanks for putting up with me. We started this thing a long time ago. When Gordy was elected, put me on the levee board. Since that point, 2004, right, Gordy? I don't think a day has gone by where him and I did not talk about levees one day. In fact, it backfires on you a little bit as you go forward, because when you're someplace and people see you coming, I know they kind of turn away and go, oh my God, I'm gonna talk about levees. Let's move on. Mitch has been a great project manager. The Corps has been great to work with. This is a great day. I know we're going to do plenty more of these groundbreakings. It's hard to mention everybody on the team, the levee board. Sue's always had my back, and so has everybody on the levee board to do the things that we've had to do. Build this thing piece by piece is what we've done. And here's another piece. When a storm passes, we're successful. You can celebrate for a day, but guess what? We're one storm away from everything we've done not looking so good. And so we have to continue to go up. We have to continue to build. It's been an honor to serve Terrebonne Parish for me. Best thing I've ever done. But we're not done. And so we're going to get this thing done. We need to continue to move forward, work with the Corps. These guys have, even though it's taken a little while, they have moved at lightning pace for the Corps of Engineers, I got to tell you. And we're so appreciative of that. Garrett, I heard you said that pretty much. I hadn't heard you say that much, and that's a fact. Pushing the regulatory and everybody to move a little faster, and we can't tell you how much we really appreciate that. And so we are working together. We are a team, along with the CPRA and Gordy. I can't say enough about Gordy and what he's done to this project to get the money coming in and make things happen. And we're looking forward to getting this thing complete. And Sue is 94 years old now. So we figure we'll complete this thing probably in another 4 or 5 years. You'll be, 98? And then you got to figure out what you're going to do for the next 10 years of your life, right? Because this will be done. Yeah, so thank you, everybody. Everybody in this tent is tremendous. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Jay. Everybody in here. It's too many people to thank. But thank you all for all you do.
Good morning, have a seat for morning and afternoon. Just wanted to say thank you for everybody for coming today. It is a great day. Morganza Action Coalition exists for one reason, and that's to get the Morganza to the Gulf system completed and protect the citizens of the parish.
So sometimes it's just...
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Foss. We're joined by Chief Brian Zarang from the Thibodaux Police Department. There you see him, and I've been knowing Chief Zarang since he was the Public Information Officer for the State Police. Of course, we play a little music together here and there, and he's all over the place with South Central Human Resources Authority, and he's just a great guy who's involved in the community. Chief, good to have you on board. How are you?
Great to be here, Martin. I'm doing fine, thanks.
Now, I understand on Friday afternoon, I'm going to tell the public this also, at the Heyman Performing Arts Center in Lafayette, several first responders across the state were inducted into the Louisiana First Responders Christian Association's Hall of Fame. One of those honored was the man we have on the set right now on TV, Thibodaux Police Chief Brian Zarang. And it's a program designed for public safety officials who are our first line of defense in protecting our communities and the nation. And there you see the nice plaque they gave the chief. Let's go to the chief, if we can, real quick, because this was the first year, from what I understand, that police chiefs were eligible, and you made it on the first go-around.
I did, yep. And like I said, I was very surprised when I was informed that I was getting inducted, and because you have to be nominated. It was one of the chiefs from out west who sits on that board, Kip Judice out of Dusson, and he contacted myself and Chris Wilrye, who's the chief out in Westlake, and said that this was the first year they were going to acknowledge the chiefs and bring us into the Hall of Fame, and they do an elected chief and an appointed chief. So Chris Wilrye got the elected chief's inductee, and I was the appointed inductee.
Let me ask you this, Chief, because like I said, you're so involved, and one time you were in charge of the police chiefs. You had conventions.
I just stepped down. I'm the second chief to sit in that position twice. I was talking to the executive director, Fabian Blanche, who was also at the ceremony, and he said I was the second chief to sit at that position as president of the Chiefs of Police Association in the state.
So right now you got a good run on Hall of Fames. You were inducted into one of the Music Hall of Fames. Now you're in the Chiefs Hall of Fame, and you've had a previous Hall of Fame. So those Hall of Fame plaques on your wall, I guess you got a special little spot for them, right?
I do, and I mean the big thing is it's an honor for myself, but that's an honor also for the city of Thibodaux. It means a lot, and all the first responders, because that means they're recognizing all first responders, which is a tough job that we all do. We all work hand in hand, and that's what it's all about. And this organization here, this association, they're looking to educate the young people in schools and bring them around and show them the different plaques of these inductees throughout the state. So they're trying to get that positive back into the young, to respect the first responders.
But it's also a good example as we talk that we see you at so many different events and that you're part of the community, whether it's through,
your association with the Human Resources Authority, or whether it's your participation in the local bands, whether it's your participation as the police chief, is that sometimes it doesn't matter how you're seen, as long as you're seen and you get around the community, but you've never been one just to sit around at the house and do nothing. So I think they recognize that, don't they?
They do, and like I said, that's how we were brought up. That's what Daddy instilled in us, and it's nice. You know, sometimes I don't like to be too, well, you know that, being in the limelight, because I think others do just as much that, you know, work under me, and I want to get them support too and get them out there in the light.
Well, there's no doubt that you've earned that for sure, and it's you know, when you have a career like yours, I remember we talked quite a bit, and sometimes I remember those days when you were with the state police and you got to be the public information officer. That job doesn't go to just anyone. They pick someone who can communicate with the public. You've always had that skill. Where did you get that from?
I don't that I don't know. I can't really tell you.
You might have got it from the music. You on the stage quite a bit.
A lot, and interacting with people all the time. And I mean, that goes back to high school, junior high, some of the programs, the scouting programs and everything, always being involved, always getting involved and get out in front of the public or in front of people and speaking. But you're right, in order to do that PIO job, they'd interview you and put you on camera and stuff to decide who they were going to pick.
Yeah, and there's no doubt you were natural. I've seen a lot of PIOs come across from different areas, and some of them really grow into the position, but the minute you hit the ground, you were ready to go. So it's something you've always been comfortable with. And I know you talk about your parents quite a bit, and you attribute a lot to them. So, but like you said, this was an honor for Thibodaux too. What did the mayor say to you?
Well, he was very happy. I spoke words about the mayor when I got up and gave my little speech, I think, which is on Facebook, thanking him for allowing me to serve in his administration, because that's another history making, because every new mayor that would come on would always get a new chief of police. So they never really kept the same chief that was there prior to the previous mayor. There was always a new chief. So I was fortunate enough, and I'm very glad that Mayor Kevin Claymore kept me on board to be part of his administration.
Well, we got 30 seconds left, and we better mention your wife, huh? We'll both be in trouble.
Yeah. And like I said, I did mention that when I did when I got up and gave the speech, told them how much wives mean, and the sheriff that was recognized, Sheriff Guillory, he said the same thing, that, the wives play a very important part in what we do in our occupation.
All right, there you have it. The Chief of Police, Brian Zarang, in another Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Martin.
All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. Man, it seems generational when I have doctors from CIS on here, and it's only a few short years ago, 40 years ago, that I started interviewing Dr. Craig Walker, and we have Dr. McCall Walker on today, and he's doing another first here at CIS, and we're going to talk with him about what he's doing. But first, let me introduce him to you. And Dr. McCall, good to see you.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
I know you've been busy because I've been seeing you around and doing different things. So first of all, for the audience, and a lot of our audience is going to know you already, but just sort of fill in the blanks for those just meeting you for the first time.
Absolutely. So my name's McCall Walker, and I grew up in Berg, not too far down the road. I initially did all my high schooling at Vanderbilt Catholic and moved away for quite a few years, probably around 15 years or so, and then made my way back to the Houma region about a year and 4 or 5 months ago now.
And so you come from a long lineage of medical professional, and of course, your dad, well renowned in this area, just was such a great man, and
thanks.
We appreciate him spreading all the health professionals
Absolutely.
around here. Your family's full of them, to say the least.
That's right. So my older sister is a radiologist at Terrebonne General. My dad was a general practitioner, a family doctor with his older brother Leslie Walker, and of course my uncle is Craig Walker.
Yeah.
So
and just
big,
for the audience, Dr. Herman was your dad. I know a lot of people will know him and remember him for sure. So let's talk about this. It seems like every time I come on with CIS, there's a new and better procedure to take care of certain things that we sort of grew up with it on HTV, seeing all the balloons and the stents and everything else that came along. Tell me about this new procedure that you're involved in.
Absolutely. So the new procedure that I'm very grateful to be the first person in South Louisiana and the Bayou region to use it is by a company called Surmodics. It's called the Pounce Venous Thrombectomy System. And this targets a very specific audience. So this is the audience who has a DVT, or a deep vein thrombosis, which is a blood clot in one of the veins, usually in the legs. The reason this is important is a blood clot in the legs immediately or after time, after several months, can cause significant symptoms. So most commonly, you're going to see things like swelling in the legs, heaviness in the legs. Visibly, one leg could be much larger than the other, the one that has the clot in it, of course. Skin changes, and even in the worst case scenario, skin breakdown or wounds on the legs, mostly on the inside of the ankles. If we're able to catch a clot early enough, then we can remove that clot, and this system can do that, and we can prevent a lot of the future side effects that I just mentioned by taking that clot out.
What are the mechanics of it? How long does it take to do a procedure? Can you sort of take us from ground zero to through the process?
Absolutely. So first of all, you need to find the right patient. This is not a great tool for someone who's had a clot for a very long time. So say greater than 3 to 6 months, for instance. There are tools for that, but this is probably not.
Why
the
is that?
one.
Because it solidifies too much?
That's a good way to look at it. Yes, it can be more solid, and a lot of the symptoms may have already set in, and it's very hard to reverse those symptoms once you have them. But if you can prevent them from happening in the first place, then you're really doing something good there. So it's the right population to start with. So if you have a fresh clot, if you know it's been within the last at most probably few months, what you do is you'll bring this patient to the cath lab, similar to if you were doing a heart procedure. Instead of being on your back, we normally have them on their stomach because we're going in through the back of the knees, the vein in the back of the knees. The device itself kind of looks like a metal basket or a metal cage on a long catheter. We have this collapsed, and we push it through the clot, open that basket up, and then pull this device back through the clot in order to drag it back towards where we access the leg. And the beauty about the Pounce system is that not only does it have this basket that allows you to catch that clot and bring it back, but there's also an aspiration or suction mechanism on it as well that can take some of that clot and physically suck it through the catheter that's there to remove it.
That's amazing. It sort of reminds me, a lot of times when pipes, underground drainage pipes are clogged, they'll run a chain through it, they'll pull a tire through it, a larger tire than the actual pipe itself, and it pulls all the dirt out. That sort of reminded me that this is a much refined way of doing it. And you said the suction on there also helps to take some of the debris out. So you're not leaving anything in the vein.
That's right. And if you are, you're leaving very, very little. And all of these patients, almost no matter what, are also going to have to be on a blood thinner after this. And that blood thinner can help to clean up any very small residue that may be left behind.
What was it like to be the first? I mean, I know you got a lot of schooling behind you now, but I always used to tease Dr. Walker. I said, I'm interviewing Dr. Craig Walker, even when he was in his 40s, and he still looked like he was in his 20s. So you got a great future and a great genetic line.
Thanks.
But you get to be on the first for this, and that's something that Dr. Craig and Dr. Phil, and we could go down the line, Dr. Ladd, all were part of a bunch of first. How does it feel for you?
It feels great. Honestly, I'm happy that I'm able to give this service to people in this region here. Before this, we have several other devices that may do similar things, but this has a very special niche, as I mentioned before the break, and it's a good feeling to be able to give back to the place that I grew up in, frankly.
No doubt. We thank you for that. But there's preventative measures that people can do prior to you having to use this. And I know a lot of what y'all do is to try to tell people about how do we prevent this from happening. So what could we do?
Exactly. So there are many, many risk factors for forming a DVT or a deep vein thrombosis, blood clot in the legs. That list could go on for days. So things like prior trauma to one of your legs, smoking, things like birth control in combination with other risk factors. Cancer, of course, is a risk factor for blood clots, not only in the legs but anywhere. And so, if you are one of these higher risk populations, and the two really that come to mind would be smoking. As well as potentially a cancer population. There are things that can be done beforehand in order to try to prevent you from developing a blood clot in the first place. A lot of that is just being aware of the fact that we have prevention, right? So seeing not only a cardiologist, but also possibly a blood doctor, a hematologist, to know if you are at higher risk of developing something like a blood clot. There are several different blood tests that can be done that can help to determine that. Of course, your risk factors are a big part of that. But ideally, we prevent you from having a blood clot in the first place by modifying some of those risk factors, as opposed to having to pull a clot out further down the line.
I remember way back when we had just our carts where we'd edit on, we'd have to roll one and make sure it's synced up with the other one. And it was antiquated in today's kind of editing world. If I go 40 years back to CIS, and y'all were doing just innovative, pioneering the ways through it. But you come on 40 years later and you're seeing this new technology. It's sort of the wow factor when you get in surgery and you get equipment like you have today. I guess sometimes, even as a physician, you probably, or sometimes you go, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had that feeling multiple times. In fact, because I was the first to use this in the region, the company flew down one of their representatives from Pennsylvania to come and obviously talk through the device, which I had used on a benchtop several times before, but to be there to talk through any technical aspects of the device itself, which was really nice as well. So very good support from the company also who makes the device when using this.
And I got to stress this, y'all can do the greatest things, but I want to say this for the patient. The patient has to listen. They have to go back and they gotta listen to the diet protocol. They gotta listen to the medical protocol. So y'all can work miracles, but it's up to the patient to do a lot to get themselves back in order.
Certainly that's important. And I think even outside of what we're talking about now, which is a blood clot in the leg, just from a cardiac standpoint in general, we obviously live in an area that has a very high prevalence of cardiac disease, not to mention vein disease in the legs and artery disease in the legs. And as I mentioned before, prevention is really the most important step there. Just because you don't have a blood clot in the legs or a plaque in the heart doesn't mean that you shouldn't be seeing a cardiologist, right? If you have a strong family history, if you have risk factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, being overweight, these are all still reasons to talk to not only your primary care doctor, but also potentially a cardiologist to prevent that next step in the future, to prevent that heart attack, that stroke, or that blood clot in your leg.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
So you guys have been doing a lot of work, really evaluating and assessing where we are with some of these EPA standards. You do it all the time.
Yes, sir.
But we've got some new guidelines coming out, something we always need to check
Yeah, it's
on.
kind of the same old problem, lead in the drinking water, and new ways to try and remove it and keep it removed.
Right.
The Environmental Protection Agency in 2022 let the water industry know that they were going to be formulating new rules for all of us to follow as far as lead and copper in the drinking water was concerned.
Right.
On October the 16th of this year, 2024, the final rules were published.
Okay.
And now we know what we're supposed to do, and we've already made our first submittal 8 days after they finally finalized the rule. So we good.
And what that means is y'all have done that first submittal, meaning y'all have taken care of things.
That's
because y'all started working on this years ago.
Yeah, we have over 5,000 hours man engineering, 5-hour man engineering hours involved in this project right now.
Wow, very, very nice.
And as sometimes the federal government does, they give you mandates but don't tell you how to pay for it.
Right, sure.
They
do all this.
That's right. This is one of those.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we're ready for it. We're ready for it.
We like it. So we want to go through this, Jay, if you'll pull it up. This is the EPA lead and copper rule, and talking about the old. I love the suggestion here. It's an old problem with some new solutions.
Correct.
What
Yes,
we're
sir.
working on. All right.
So originally, actually, this is the 50th year of the Safe Drinking Water Act being signed and put into law in the United States of America by the U.S. Congress and the EPA.
From 1974.
1974. 50 years ago that was put in. And that rule did a lot of things just starting to set the baseline for what the drinking water standards would be.
Right.
The next thing kind of came around is 1986 when, like government does, this is good, but let me tell you how we can make it better.
Right.
And so in 1986, they put out some amendments and started changing some of the things that we should do and be prepared to do to make sure that that lead is taken out of or not even put in to anything that drinking water goes into. And then, of course, in 1992, they weren't happy with what they did. 8 years before, they decided to add a little bit more, and that did it, and that's really when the earnest push of starting to test for and finding and removing lead occurred, 1992.
Right.
And then, of course, the real kicker that just kind of broke the camel's back, if I may, was 2014, Flint, Michigan.
Right, when we had that incident
and I will
there.
talk about that.
Right.
And on October the 8th of this year, as we mentioned earlier, the next set of rules has come out, and that's with how we got to where we are today.
This is where we are now.
To even talk more about
Gotcha.
it. Okay.
Very good. All right, go ahead, Jake.
So we mentioned about 74 being the 25th year, and basically what it did was it just set the ground rules.
Okay.
You know, this is what we expect. This is the chlorination. This is the bacteria. This is all these kinds of things we want to do. And while you add it, you might want to look at lead.
Right.
Because let's not forget, Keith, all of the lead has been a problem for a long time.
Right.
It's a wonderful material, but it comes with some problems.
Right.
Those who might be a little maybe born in the last century, so to speak, will remember when it first started with the lead paint chips falling off that children consumed, and finally led to where they said, whoa, wait a second, this is really hurting young children growing up with lead.
Right.
And then, of course, we had the Clean Air Act. About removing lead from gasoline.
Yes, right.
So now when we talk about acid rain, well, that's because of all the you know, that's
lead
what was
in the
happening. That's
atmosphere.
correct. And then, of course, now with Flint, Michigan, it switched back over to water. So 84 added some other restrictions coming on. Really kind of minor compared to where we are today. And the same thing in 94. But I want to talk a little bit about 94 because that's when they started giving us some real numbers to shoot for. And some real, if you don't do this, you will be out of compliance. And we reacted as a waterworks back then by doing several things. First one, if you put the next on of it, it's got pictures of it.
Okay.
The first one all the way to the left is it's called Sequest, and it is a corrosion inhibitor.
Yep.
And we add that to the water. It's National Science Foundation 61 standard approved.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt anybody.
Right.
You know, I don't want to get into conspiracy theory about fluoride and all that stuff.
Right.
This is the real deal. And basically what it does is it coats the insides of the pipes to keep whatever's on the outside of the pipe, like the material lead, from getting into the drinking water.
Into drinking water
and
on the inside
we've been
of the
using this for a long time.
Right. And so again, you can see the other things that were
The next thing is it's not an erector set for grown-ups. It's actually a coupon rack.
Right.
And what happens is the water runs through that all the time, 24/7.
Right.
And inside of it is some little metal pieces that we go by every 60 days, take it out, bring it to the lab, they clean it up, and then they weigh it.
Okay.
And they say, wait a second, it went in at 1, and now it's only 0.9. We got some corrosion going on.
We can see that it's breaking down.
So either
Gotcha.
we up the rate of what corrosion inhibitor is, or we go look for some other problems.
Wow.
In 2014, the headlines were all about Flint, Michigan.
Yep.
Flint, Michigan, their problem was they were buying water from the city of Detroit, which raw water came from Lake Huron.
Right.
They were trying to save money because they were buying expensive.
Yeah, because people say you got to do this, but you got to figure out how to pay for it.
So they decided they would go to the Flint River. Not a problem. The problem was the Flint River was more acidic than Lake Huron. And they didn't realize it. And so older cities, particularly those who were maybe grew or started off in the early 1900s, lead was a very common way to transport water. And so they had lead pipes. Well, when you take lead pipes and you put it in acid, the lead leaches out and gets into the water and absorbed. Then particularly young children drink the water, then there's developmental problems and perhaps brain damage, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
That's a no-no. Nobody wants that.
No, absolutely
And
not.
so after, we're in the 50th year of the Safe Drinking Water Act. We're to the point now where EPA says enough's enough. I don't know if we can do everything else, but we're going to sure put the onus on the water districts to take care of this stuff.
Right. Get rid of it.
And so they came out with new rules, which are effective October the 8th. The first submittal was done October the 16th. So the new rules say to basically do this. 1, you have to submit an inventory of all your service lines in your district.
Oh, wow.
And we did that. That's over 50,000 for us.
Good Lord.
Okay?
Yeah.
Over 50,000. It doesn't say that you have to tell them what it is, but you have to say and acknowledge we have this many service lines and they're located here.
Here, right.
All right?
Okay.
Then now the second thing you have to do within 30 days of giving us a list, you have to tell your customers what's going on.
Right. This is what we're doing.
That would be November the 15th because we submitted to the portal one day in advance.
Right.
And so now we've already done that. All of our customers should have received a letter in the mail addressed to them, addressed with an address that they get their water from. Mm-hmm. And in there, it's going to tell you what's going on.
Right.
So it's going to tell you on that letter that there's a QR code. If you know how to do that, scan that. It's going to take you to all the information on our website.
Right.
It's going to take you a map. It's going to take you right to your house and say, we don't know what your service line is. If you know, be kind enough and tell us.
Right.
Okay? And so all of the information is online, on our website, on any of the links that are in that letter to them.
Right.
In
And they're right
addition
there.
to that, the second page, the middle and the one to the right, give you some helpful hints and tell you all of this that I'm telling you right now.
Right.
This is what's going on.
And again, you're just telling us this is the history.
That's exactly
This is
right.
how we got here. This is
That's
what we're
right.
doing moving
That's
forward.
right. And the work that we're doing is important. So important that the federal government has made us do it. We are mandated to do this.
Okay.
So to keep our licenses and to be up and everything like that, we're doing what they want us to do.
Right.
And it's also going to benefit the customers.
Right.
So in addition to that, so we've We've said it. We've told the government what we got. We're telling you what we got. And the third thing is, and we've done that also, a website with a map that you can go in and verify all of this.
Right.
Okay. So we've already done what we know we're supposed to do. Now, statistically, the state of Michigan, of course, which Flint is in, and the state of Ohio, which is right next to them,
right?
They've been at the forefront in saying, hey, tell me how many water services you got, and I'm going to tell you statistically how many you got to go dig up and put your eyes on and then certify it is what it is.
Right. Go verify
And
that
for
this is
us,
it.
that's going to be 381. So
Our
we're
number's
going to go out
381.
in Terrebonne Parish and dig up 381 service lines and look at it and say, that's galvanized, that's copper, that's PVC, that's PEX. That's what we're going to do.
Go and
we're
verify
going to
the
report
line.
that. That is correct.
Right.
And
So that's 381 of
that's
the
right. And I
50,000.
have to sign that certificate saying that we put our eyes on it and we testify that this is what it is.
Right.
Okay. Now, what happens if we find one? I don't think we will, but let's just say we do.
Right.
Then we start all over again. Then they will statistically give us 381 addresses, and we will go back out again and dig up 381.
Because we have to look per percentage.
That's correct.
Of making sure
it's a statistical deal.
Right.
That's correct.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Of that 50,000 that you had to submit
that's
originally.
what it is.
And y'all have already done the beginning of that.
We've done that.
Yeah.
We're waiting on our list of 381 to take that next phase. Now, if we find, and in the first 381, which if I was a betting man, I would bet that we're not going to find any.
Right.
Then we're finished.
Right,
Thank you
we're
very
done.
much. It's been nice.
Right.
We move on.
Right.
If we find one, or if we can't get it all done, then every year for 10 years, I have to keep sending this notice out
381.
and
Right.
keep trying
To
to
do a
tell you
381.
what's going on, updating the map, doing all those kinds of things.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.